Right, you are here today because you're trying to decide whether you want to buy a GoPro Hero 11 or a DJI Action 4. Well, I've been using the GoPro Hero 11 for quite a long time, and the DJI Action 4, let's say this is a month later. The DJI Action 4, in terms of design, is very similar to the GoPro. The GoPro may be a little bit bigger, but not much, only a tiny bit bigger. And they both have the lens in the same place. They both have the screen in the same place at the front and at the back. The only difference with the screens is that the Action 4 does have a touch screen at the front, which makes a huge difference because I can basically tap it and I can change all the settings, which is pretty cool. Both of these have fairly good microphones, and at the moment the wind is set to 1, so it should be doing a nice job isolating my voice from the wind and the noise that's going on around me. In terms of price, $349 for the GoPro Hero 11 at this moment in time, and $399 for the DJI Action 4, which means that the DJI Action 4 is actually a little bit more expensive, but it is newer and it's a little bit more advanced. The GoPro Hero 11 does have more resolution. It's quite windy at the moment, by the way, so I'm interested in how the microphones are handling it. So you got 5.3K maxed out on the GoPro, and you have 4K on the actual Action 4. The Action 4 does 120 frames per second in 4K, so does the GoPro, but the GoPro can do 60 frames per second in 5.3K. Now, there's construction going on, there's a lot of noise, there is wind, so there's a lot of stuff going on right now. The cool thing is that you can take the selfie stick out of the Action 4. You can remove it, like in the Insta360 camera. So if I have the selfie stick and it's right there, you can remove it with the Action 4, which is pretty cool. It's a nifty little trick. It looks like you're flying a drone. The GoPro has a 1/1.9 inch sensor. The Action 4 has a 1/1.3 inch sensor, meaning that the Action 4 actually has a larger sensor, meaning that it should be better in low light. It actually has a slightly wider depth of view, as you can see. But looking on the screen, the GoPro looks like it's doing a better job with my face, the exposure on my face. It looks good. I like how the sky looks. It basically looks good. I love the colors. I love the natural look of the Action 4 because it just seems to be a lot more cinematic. It matches easier with my Sony cameras, whereas the GoPro is a lot more over sharpened, even if you do adjust the sharpness on it, which you can do on both the GoPro and the Action 4. One huge thing for me is battery life. Now, the GoPro lasts about half an hour less than the Action 4, and a massive problem for me is that with the GoPro, if I leave the battery in there, it's gonna die. I've done quite a few films about this, and it's really annoying. With the Action 4, I can come back 2 months later. Well, this is the Action 3 actually, because I haven't tried it on the Action 4, but I've come back a week later and it's still on 100%. So that's a great thing about the Action 4, you've got reliability. Another thing that really pains me with the GoPro is that when you press record, and say you have the GoPro attached to your car, you have the GoPro attached to, I don't know, say a plane, whatever you've got it attached to, you won't see live view, you won't see the actual feed when you press record. With the Action 4, when you press record, you'll see the live view on your smartphone app, which is great because then you can control and see what's going on, if your time lapse is going good on your car, or if the frame's looking bad, you know. There are things like that, like live view, record, which really make a difference for me, and the battery life. The battery can handle -20 on the Action 4 and -10 on the GoPro. That's quite a huge difference. Another thing is that the GoPro only goes down to 10 meters underwater. The Action 4 now goes down to -18 meters. I don't know who dives like that. I dive about 1.10 meters, 1.12 centimeters. That's maxed out for me. Now I'm gonna just go in here because it's completely different in terms of lighting, and you can see what it looks like here. See, I mean, both of these do a pretty good job on auto in terms of going through, you know, dark areas, light areas, and they adjust really nicely. Another great thing is that gyro data is back on the Action 4. It wasn't there on the Action 3. and it is in the GoPro Hero 11. So both of these got gyro data. If you're doing some crazy, you know, FPV stuff, it's gonna work. Ooh, I thought I was about to get run over by that car. Mounting systems, the GoPro has its feet, whereas DJI has the quick mount. When it comes to, you know, it's like a quick magnetic clip mount, which you can also get for the GoPro. I designed it with Ulanzi, and you can pick that up from the link down below. It's pretty cool because it means that you can mount it really quick and nice and easy, like you do with the Action 4. The Action 4 has got vertical mode natively, so if you turn it with the cage on sideways, you can have it vertical for all your TikTok-y, you know, Instagram reels. I'm going to jump off this and just show you the stabilization. This is a big jump. They both have excellent stabilization. We have rock steady on the Action 4 and hyper smooth, I think it's 5 on the GoPro Hero 11. So both of these have got insane stabilization. I get a lot of questions, Phil, what gimbal do I need for my GoPro Action? You don't need one. These things are insane when it comes to stabilization. You can see me walking around, even if I kind of bubble it up and down. I mean, it does a great job. When it comes to stabilization, they both have auto leveling, so you can have your horizon, and if you turn the camera around, so if you flip it, which it's not going to work now because I don't have it turned it on, but it will stay in place and the horizon will stay level. The GoPro does it in 4K, whereas the Action 4 does it in 2.7K, which was a disappointment to me. I thought the Action 4 would bring it up to 4K with the GoPro. It's a cool feature. It's not one that I use all the time, but it does come in handy, and it makes some crazy shots on skateboards and planes look really cool. I don't ride a skateboard, and I haven't attached one to a plane, so it's not a big problem for me. In terms of aspect ratios, they both do 4:3 and they both do 16:9, which is what you're looking at right now. But the GoPro also does 8:7, meaning that it's kind of almost a square, so you can either do vertical or horizontal video from that, and it's always going to look good. With the Action 4 you don't have that, but you do have vertical natively, which makes life a lot simpler. Now, 120 frames per second, like I said, both in 4K, 240 frames per second, which is a little bit mucky. It looks fugly, I'm not going to lie to you. You're going to have it in 1080p on the Action 4, and you're going to have it in 2.7K on the GoPro. So the GoPro has lifted, you know, that up a little bit, as has it with the 5.3K in 60 frames per second. These are kind of things that I'm sure the DJI cameras will start including, but like I said, I prefer the look of DJI Action. It just looks a lot more natural. It's not so over sharpened. It feels like a much more polished camera. Now both of these have D-Log. The Action 4 actually has D-Log M, which I'm really starting to love. Just nice flat profiles which you can color. They both have natural color profiles, though the GoPro is a little bit more punched in. The Action 4 is a little bit smoother. It just means that if you're filming and you don't want to play around with editing or put LUTs in, the Action 4 will get you there a lot faster. They both have time lapses. They both have hyperlapses. Both of them look fantastic. In terms of photos, well, you've got 10 megapixels on the Action 4 and you've got 27 megapixels on the GoPro Hero 11, meaning that it's a little bit higher in resolution for the photos. It just kind of looks a little bit more crisp. And the cool thing is, with the GoPro you have star lapse, which you don't have in the Action 4, but you can set it manually if you really want to. Both of these have 4x zoom, but that's digital, so you can do that in post so it doesn't look so, you know, fugly. They have both options for external microphones. With the GoPro you do have to buy an adapter, which is expensive as hell. With the Action 4 you basically plug in a USB-C and life is great. So in terms of reliability and usability, I would definitely go with the Action 4. It just makes life a lot easier and you don't have to worry about batteries, which makes me happy. I think it makes any filmmaker happy. When it comes to overheating, the GoPro overheated after about 25 minutes in 120 frames per second. The DJI basically did not overheat. It died when the battery died in about, I think it was an hour, 65 minutes. It's really windy here, so once again, I'm letting you guys hear and see what both of these look like. Just walking around the city. Summer's ending, there are clouds around, so you can imagine what yours is probably going to look like if you're not jumping out of airplanes or rollerblading on ice, or jumping through hoops of fire, this is what your GoPro or DJI Action will look like if you're walking around town like I am. I'm in Łódź, Poland. That's about it. If you guys have any questions at all about the GoPro Hero 11 or the DJI Action 4, make sure to drop them down below. And if you do like my film, make sure to give me a like. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do. Button's right down there. And you know, ring the bell. That's gonna help me. It's actually gonna help everybody. You guys have a nice day.